Hello, guys. Well, it's about that time. It's time to talk about it. Let's talk about my PhD and what I've been studying and researching over the last 4.5 years. So, today the focus of the video is on my PhD and actually talking about my PhD and what my research is about. It just realized I was looking there, guys, instead of looking here. So yeah, apologies for that. But yeah, focusing on talking about my PhD, what it's about, and also how I conceived the research, and also the current state of things in my PhD, because yeah, I'm still studying it. So first things first, I need to mention this because I don't think I've mentioned it yet. So I'm studying my PhD part-time, by the way. For anyone who's new, I'm studying my PhD part-time whilst working full-time as a software engineer. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm studying my PhD at Anglia Ruskin University, which is based in Cambridge, essentially. And throughout the course of the rest of the video, I might abbreviate and just say ARU when I'm talking about the university. So just keep that in mind whenever you hear that. But yeah, I'm studying at the Institute of ARU, and the reason why I decided to go to ARU is because at the time I was working in Cambridge, and I also live outside Cambridge, so it made sense for travel reasons, because this was pre-pandemic, so you actually had to travel places. And also I did my undergrad and master's degree at ARU as well, so it was a no-brainer to go to a university where I already had links to the lecturers who also supervise PhDs and whatnot and deal with all this PhD research. Excuse me, guys. So it was no-brainer. It just made it easier. And yeah, I'll talk more about that stuff another time. But yeah, it just made it easier to link up with lecturers and get the kind of information I needed on PhDs, how they work, and what a part-time would look like, the schedule, etc., and expectations and whatnot. So, without further ado, let's talk about my PhD. So I'm gonna give the kind of summary description of what my PhD is about in terms of the topic, what the focus is, and then dive a bit deeper into what it means in more simpler words, and also how it was conceived. So my PhD research focuses on analyzing product reviews from sites like Amazon, eBay, etc. Analyzing product reviews and using text classification and machine learning to perform activity predictions. What that means is, so yeah, let me just make it simpler and put some simple words on this thing. So whenever you are buying a product from like Amazon, we use Amazon because I think most people watching this video and in the world-ish use Amazon. I would say the Western world, just to make it easier. In the Western world, because I'm based in the UK, use Amazon a lot, especially during the pandemic. Amazon made a killing. But anyway, I digress. And whenever you're buying a product that have a more ambiguous use case, or essentially you tend to look at the product reviews to see what other consumers who've bought the product, kind of what their opinions and thoughts on that product are before you decide whether to buy it or not. And this can mean reading 10, 20, maybe 30 reviews. I don't think anyone goes past like 20, if we're being honest, or even like 5. But it involves the added effort of reading the reviews and checking the star rating and all that good stuff, and all that stuff to see what other consumers who've already bought and used the product, what they think of it. Now, my research comes into play in the sense that it essentially removes the need, at least the goal is with the research, is to remove the need to have to actually go and look at those reviews. Because what my research does is essentially it looks at all the product reviews, analyzes them, and simply spits out predictions of the activities. This is what they actually use the product for, what other consumers actually use the product for, and spits these activities out and pretty much just kind of displays them in like a table at the top of like the product page. So an example of this is, imagine you're looking to buy, I don't know, some hiking shoes, right? And you want to know, in fact, no, we just say shoes, and we just say you want to buy some shoes or some trainers, and you want to use them to go walking up a mountain in, I don't know, Mount Kilimanjaro in, is it Tanzania or Kenya? Somewhere there. I don't know. I can't remember. Somewhere in East Africa. That's your plan. But you need a good set of shoes that are comfortable, durable, breathable, etc. And so you go on Amazon, start looking for shoes that you can use for your hike / I don't know, walk, whatever, trainers. And instead of having to read all the reviews, what would be presented to you when you open up a product, like a set of shoes on Amazon, for example, would be a table at the top that would say, consumers who've used this product have used it for, this is an example, of course, hiking, walking, running, climbing, for example, right? And then there will be like sort of it's called a polarity, but essentially that's just saying whether or not their opinion, the consumer's opinion, when they use the product for the activity they used it for, whether it's positive or negative, essentially. And so that would be the kind of how it would look, the outcome, if you will, if this was implemented in the real world. Now, just to clarify, this is not how my research is outputted at the moment. I'm not plugging it into Amazon and presenting it out, because that's a whole different step. So just to be clear, for my actual research, so what I just described to you is how I envision the end game of the product looking like, right? Because the way I look at my PhD research is more than just research. It's the research that can benefit, I guess, people in the world, in the real world. If applied properly, this could actually be used by people, essentially, and they can actually enjoy using this. So the way I described it, as in how it would present itself on Amazon, is more my vision of it. That's kind of my vision for the final form. But the PhD research I'm doing so far, what I've done is I've developed what I call a prototype framework. But essentially it's just a web application where you enter a product review and then it just gives you a prediction. And then you get to decide whether or not it is correct or incorrect. And then the incorrect predictions. No, in fact, you get to say if it's incorrect or correct. If it's incorrect, you also get to then say what you expected the activity to be, essentially. So that's the other thing. So you can, and then the idea with that is that moving forward, if like enough input was provided, we could retrain the machine learning model on all the predictions it failed on, so that it gets better and better over time, essentially. So that's how it looks. I will do a presentation of this on the channel at some point. Not today, but at some point I'll do like an introduction to the prototype framework sort of thing, because yeah, I believe I'm allowed to present this. It won't be a problem, like from the university's point of view. So we're good there. We're good. Sorry about that, guys. So that's essentially my PhD and what kind of I've been working on for the last 4.5 years. And yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Now let's talk about how I conceived of this idea. So back 4.5 years ago, when I started looking into doing a PhD, I spoke to a lecturer who used to teach me for my undergrad and masters at ARU, because she was like a very main, kind of one of the main people who managed PhD students and supervised them and whatnot, guided them, etc. She's a very knowledgeable woman, very accomplished herself. She used to work at Arm, I believe, at one point, and then I think she wanted to get a better work-life balance because of her kids and her family and whatnot. I believe so. I could be wrong about that, but she did tell me the story like many years ago, so I might be remembering it incorrectly. But I believe it was due to some sort of work-life balance she was seeking for. So she decided to become a lecturer and guide PhD students, because she has a PhD herself in computer science, so which she's held for actually I think for over a decade. So very knowledgeable woman. Believe me, I would not have made it this far without her. And the other supervisors, of course. I'm not going to take anything away from them. So when I started talking to her about this, she told me to look at the current research that was being done in the text classification and machine learning, product reviews, or just text analysis kind of research space. And she was like, you can find an idea by looking at what's happening, what's currently being researched by others right now, and then trying to find missing pieces or things they haven't looked into that you can then expand into, starting off from there, like spinning off their research essentially. Because with a PhD, you only need a 5% novelty, like difference, for it to be like, this is PhD worthy. It doesn't have to be like a crazy 40% difference where you're like, I've come up with a completely new way of doing something. It's like, not really, no. You need to just improve upon what's there in this research space already and add to the knowledge, because as good as all the researchers who've come before me are in the computer science area, or even text classification specifically, which is where I'm kind of focused, they would not have caught everything. They will kind of focus their research on a specific kind of end goal and then maybe expand it from there, but it doesn't always play out that way. So she encouraged me to do that, and for months I read research paper after research paper, conference paper after conference paper, and I was getting nowhere. And I think the reason is the way my PhD supervisor she wasn't my supervisor then, but she became one, obviously, so she was already kind of guiding me. The way she encouraged me to go down this path of looking at other research papers was very kind of academic-esque in how you would look at what's missing in the research space, if you will. And that's not a bad thing or anything. It wasn't vibing for me. It wasn't working with me and how I operate. And I believe the reason for that is because I'm an engineer first, essentially. So I'm a software engineer. I like building things. And so whenever I look at problems or something missing, I look at it from a kind of as if it's a product that needs to be delivered out to the world, essentially. Because that's how I've kind of progressed in my career over the last, 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. Yeah, anyway, let's focus. So that didn't quite work for me. So what I actually ended up doing was, I kept reading the papers, don't get me wrong. I didn't just stop because I didn't have any other strategy. But how I actually conceived of my research was quite funny. So back in 2017, when I started my PhD in September 2017, about 4 months before that, I had bought my first house and moved in and all that stuff, moved out of my parents' house all that good stuff. So it was an active year, 2017. PhD notwithstanding, because I started a new job at an early stage startup, bought a house, and then started PhD like a few months after that. So it was an active year. But when I bought my house, I'd already begun the discussions of the PhD, of course. And so I was shopping online on Amazon, as it happens to be, for a new home office desk for my house, basically. And essentially, I was kind of searching the general home office desks and just trying to find the best quality desk for the money that they were charging at the time. And I was kind of reading through all the different reviews, essentially, just to try and see if, the quality was good, the sturdiness, the easiness of assembly, all those things, because I had to account for all of those things. I didn't want to spend like a week trying to assemble a home office desk, right? I wanted it to be like a few hours on a weekend or something, on a Sunday. So yeah, I read a lot of product reviews, and it was getting annoying because I wasn't getting a clear picture of what was the best home desk for me to buy, essentially. And then I happened to open this one desk, and I was literally about to give up on this and be like, I'll deal with this another time, sort of thing. And then I'm scrolling through the reviews, and then I think it's like within the first 5 or 6 reviews, I found this one review that just caught my eye. So it was this woman, at least I believe it was a woman based on her name and what she wrote. And essentially, she said, oh, this desk is great, it's sturdy, easy to assemble, great, the drawers and whatnot, the usual jazz. And then what I read next on her review just dropped my jaw. So she said, oh, this desk has been great for me to use as a makeup station. It's got so much space, all these things, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, hold on, makeup station? Wait, wouldn't you just go and buy a normal makeup station? No, this woman had bought a home office desk and converted it into a home office, into a makeup station. And she had a picture with the mirrors and everything. It looked pretty cool, actually. I mean, I don't know much about makeup stations, so what do I know? It looked cool in the picture. But I was like, oh, damn. In my mind, home office desks only had the one use case, the one, activity, which is you use them as a home office desk. But here was a woman who had used it as a makeup station, and just like that, I realized, damn, there's a hole right now in kind of like the market of tech, in the sense that people keep having to read reviews. And if for women out there who probably just go ahead and just buy a makeup station, and it probably cost them, I don't know, not 4x the price of this home office desk, if they'd found this lady's review, they might have just bought the home office desk and just used that as their makeup station, because it came in like 5 different colors. So it's not like it was just a black color only, or like brown or something. No, it had like 5 different colors. So it hit me. This is a good space to research, because then I could use machine learning to analyze the product reviews and do some predictions on the activity that's been used, essentially, to try and, kind of pull this stuff out and summarize it at the top in a table, like I said earlier. So that's how I pretty much came up with that's how my research project, or the research idea, was conceived. Sheer dumb luck, as I was looking for my own home office desk. Ironically enough, I ended up buying the same desk that woman reviewed on using as a makeup station, and I mean, she was right. It was sturdy and in good quality. So shout out to you, whoever, I can't remember your name, lady, but shout out to you. So that's how I conceived of my research. That was a roundabout way of telling the story, but hey, I'm sure you guys found it, enjoyable. At least I hope so. So that's pretty much my research in a nutshell. The current status of the current state of my PhD progress, I'll say, is, so I'm like 4.5 years deep into this thing, right? And I'm currently writing my thesis, and yeah, let's just say it's going. It's a pain. It's a pain in the backside, man. But yeah, I'm working on my thesis right now, and I'm approximately 65% of the way there. This isn't me coming up with an arbitrary number to just make myself feel good. My supervisory team have also kind of confirmed that you're like 65% of the way there. So to be fair, the 65% was a few weeks ago, the last time I spoke with them. So it might be like 70% now, but we'll keep it at 65% because, let's not get cocky. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Just gonna keep chugging along because writing a thesis is painful, it's stressful, and it's hella annoying, but it needs to be done. Otherwise, the last 4.5 years, 5 years, whatever, will be for naught, essentially. Because at the end of the day, the thesis is what I need to submit and pass. To submit, and then the examination board passes me. So in the coming videos, I'm just gonna say it here. It's kind of like an outro, if you will. In the coming videos, I'm primarily gonna focus on the last 4 years, primarily of the journey and how I have been juggling my PhD whilst progressing my career. Because for anyone who hasn't watched any of the previous videos, when I started my PhD in 2017, I was a junior software engineer at an early stage startup. And today I am a lead software engineer at a different company. I've moved companies a few times actually in the last 4 years. Not in the last 4.5 years. Yeah, I've moved companies a bit. I'll talk about that as well. But I'm a lead software engineer now, and so in the coming videos I will mostly talk about how I juggled both sides, to keep it progressing and make it this far. That's the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you found my PhD research project interesting and, I don't know, maybe fascinating to you. So yeah, if you want to know more about it, just leave a comment in the comment section or whatever it is, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Signing out.